Okay, so let's have a look at the South Sydney Rabbitohs' shocking start to the 2024 NRL season. In order to do this, we have to go back to last season when, after round 11, they're top. They're doing really well. They're playing fantastic. Their attack is working on both sides of the field. They're scoring more tries down the right side, which had been a weakness as they're too left-centric in their attack. They're playing really well, and then their form nosedives off a cliff after the Origin period. They've only won 5 games in the last 20 in total, including this season, so their form has been dreadful. After round 12, they only won 4 more games that season, so not a great end to last year. They missed the top 8, they missed finals, and they start with a 3-game losing streak to start the season. They did beat the Bulldogs in a scrappy win, but they got hammered by the Warriors at the weekend. So let's break things down. We'll talk about the Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker situation, and Sam Burgess and Johnny Morris with their departures from the club as assistant coaches and their exit interviews, highlighting the special treatment that Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker got in regards to not being held to the same standards. We'll let that sink in. So, they started this season against the Sea Eagles in Vegas. They lost 36 points to 24. Their second half performance, they collapsed. They raised the white flag and they just gave up in the second half. The Sea Eagles have had a bit of a mixed start to the season, but they've shown some really good signs under the former South Sydney coach, Anthony Seibold. So there's some good shoots there for the Sea Eagles, not so good for the Bunnies. They lost in Vegas. They then, in round 2, played the Broncos. They lost 28 points to 18. Now, the Broncos also played in the Vegas weekend. They lost 28 points to 18. Very similar story to round 1. They were second best in that game, and they were beaten decently by the Broncos. Then we get to the game against the Roosters, which is a real low point. They lost 48 points to 6. I was expecting a bit more fight from the Bunnies in that game. The Roosters and Bunnies in recent years have thrown up some real classic matches, some real intense matches. It just wasn't there. That I think is the moment that Jason Demitrou's job is done, personally. Even though they beat the Bulldogs in round 4, 20 points to 16, they were lucky in that game. Scrappy game, they win, but it wasn't convincing. And then they lost to the Warriors 34 points to 4. At the weekend, Latrell Mitchell going on report and being suspended for 3 games for an elbow on Sean Johnson, and he got away with the tip tackle on Tohu Harris, which should have been added to the suspension. I think he's got off very lightly for 2 acts of really grubby foul play, in my opinion. Also, when Rocco Berry goes over to score his try, he goes in with a head-high shot, got away with that one as well. There was a couple of other incidents in that game that could have been put on report. He's a powder keg waiting to happen. And his performance, that 30-yard aimless long pass, while they get a try out of that phase of play, he wasn't taking on the line. Really, he had an opportunity to run straight and he decides to fling it 30 yards to his right. Yes, they get a try at the resulting phase of play. They did take the lead against the Warriors, and that was it. They capitulated against the Warriors at the weekend. So let's have a look at the points conceded and the points scored. They've conceded 162 points at an average of 32.4 points per game. That is the worst in the league. They are bottom on the table when it comes to defence. They've only scored 72 points at an average of 14.4, which is only just above the Gold Coast Titans. So in reality, they are really struggling with their advanced stats. They've got the Sharks coming up for the bye. Now, the Latrell Mitchell situation. Obviously, he got involved with the Spencer Leniu judiciary process by making comments before that process was concluded. In between the loss to the Sea Eagles and the loss to the Broncos, he gave a few press statements in their week off, which then became free rein for all the players. I understand the sensitivities of the issue, and a lot of players felt very, very strongly about discrimination in the game, and that's perfectly fine. They should have all waited until the end of the judiciary process. Spencer Leniu ultimately got an 8-game ban, but he was making comments about the judiciary process and what he felt the ban should be, as well as other comments as well. He then gave the expletive-laden Triple M interview following the defeat to the Broncos, which led to a lot of eyebrows being raised. He was not sanctioned for either set of media comments made, be it the Triple M interview where it was literally F-bomb after F-bomb, and the interviews he gave following Spencer Leniu being put on report for the racial slur against Ezra Mann, which led to an 8-game suspension, was not sanctioned by the NRL in that regard. Now he's obviously got his suspension for 3 games for the elbow on Sean Johnson. Possibly should have got longer. He could have been put on report for in the act of scoring for Rocco Berry, trying to take his head off, and the spear tackle on the lifting tackle on Tohu Harris. How he got away with not getting added games for those incidents is beyond me. Cody Walker as well, Sam Burgess and Johnny Morris, when they were assistant coaches last year in their exit interviews, basically highlighted that these two players were not held to the same standards in training as the rest of the team. Now, Morris has gone to be an assistant at the West Tigers, and they're doing quite well under Benji Marshall. They've had a good start to the season. And obviously Sam Burgess has gone over to the Super League to coach the Warrington Wolves, and he's had a fantastic start to his coaching career in the Super League. So they lose an experienced head coach in Morris, who had been a head coach at Cronulla, who was an assistant, and they've now lost Sam Burgess, club legend, and as a defence coach as well. So you can see where their defence is now being hampered. Jason Demitrou looks like a dead man walking, really. His last press conference following the Warriors loss, you can see that this is a frustrated and downbeat playing group. Yes, there are injuries. You can argue Campbell Graham, Jai Arrow, and now Lockie Ilias all being out injured is impacting the team. Their attack is too left-hand side heavy, which makes it very easy to shut down. Yes, Jack Whiten's actually been playing quite well in that left-centre role. Could he end up playing in the halves? Could he end up playing at fullback? Which are his stronger positions, or if he does play at left-centre in Origin or as a utility. We shall wait and see. He's actually had a good start to his Bunnies career in a losing side. His numbers have been really, really good. He has scored some tries. His carries are really good. His meters are really good. He's actually getting more meters than Latrell Mitchell. So there are issues with Latrell Mitchell on and off the field, which are impacting this team in the dressing room. Were the Roosters right to let him go? Did they see something or notice something about his attitude, his training, There's no doubt on his ability. When Latrell Mitchell is fully fit and fully focused, he is a destructive force. I think his best position is left centre, where Jack Whiten is playing, but we won't find out for another 3 weeks. Now, on the Jason Demitrou front, there's a lot of rumours circulating, a lot of reports coming out that he's basically lost his job. Even if they beat the Sharks before the bye, it's potentially not enough. And the Sharks are a pretty good side. They're playing quite well. They were a top 8 side last year. So he's on a hiding to nothing. Will he resign? Will he go? There's rumours linking Wayne Bennett with a return to South Sydney. There's rumours linking Sam Burgess with a return to South Sydney. There's rumours linking Michael Maguire, who's the current Blues head coach. And Michael Maguire has gone very hands-in with the Blues. I can't see him trying to juggle both. He's really trying to restructure the Blues on and off the field. And there's rumours with Craig Bellamy as well. Now, Craig Bellamy, we don't know if he's going to be coaching next year, but what we do know is he's committed long-term to the Melbourne Storm in some kind of administrative or coaching director capacity. Wayne Bennett, it is his last year at the Dolphins. Whether he decides to go to the new expansion team, if and when that gets announced, or go back to South Sydney, we'll see. But some relationships broke down there when he left, and Anthony Seibold was appointed. There was a breakdown in the relationship at the club at the time. He left a year early, so bridges have been burned there a little bit, so to speak. So they're in a real awkward position. There's not many coaches who've got coaching experience at NRL level available to fill in. This could be a complete disaster of the season. They could really fall away badly. Yes, they've got that one win, but it wasn't convincing. They have to beat the Sharks. There is no doubt on that. But whether they can and whether they are in the right mental side of things as well. Their forward pack has been dominated. Their defence is not good enough. Their defence is all over the place. They're falling off tackles. Their completion rate isn't good enough. Even though their completion rate against the Bulldogs was better, not good enough. I mean, the defeat against the Roosters was a hammering, and their defeat against the Warriors, that could have been more points as well. They were lucky to get away with not conceding 50 in both games. Their complete capitulation in the second half against the Sea Eagles was just symptomatic of the issues they faced last season. And as I say, they are missing some key players who were vital in contributions over the last couple of seasons. So they've lost something in the forward pack. They've lost something on the right side. Their attack is too left-hand side centric, which is very easy to shut down. So easy to shut down when you know they're going to go to the right. Cody Walker's making a lot of errors, doesn't look fully fit. Is his career winding down? Has he finally reached the end? He's not great this season. And Latrell Mitchell, I mean, he is a powder keg waiting to happen with another lengthy suspension. he's starting to get a reputation as a very dirty, grubby player. There is no doubt on his skill and his ability. He proved that at the Roosters in a left centre position, and occasionally in the halves, and occasionally at fullback. He was very versatile at the Roosters, but predominantly he was used as a left centre. And he breaks onto the scene as a youngster and was a really shining light in a poor Rooster side in 2016. 2018, 2019, he was crucial. He was a key part of those premiership winning sides. Did the Roosters see something in Latrell Mitchell that the Rabbitohs didn't? Were they right to let him go? He is the Rabbitohs' highest paid player. He's on over $1 million per season. He's not playing like $1 million player. And there's obviously those off-field issues where he's giving controversial interviews to the media, and then his on-field conduct is just not great. So there's that. But there we go. We'll see what happens with Jason Demitrou if he holds on to his job. But yeah, it's not looking good. So there we go. We've dissected a little bit quickly their shocking start to this season. Place your thoughts in the comment section below. Do they have to drop Latrell Mitchell? Do they move him to left centre? Is Cody Walker, has his race been run? He just doesn't look like Cody Walker of 18 months ago, or the Cody Walker who played Origin. He just doesn't look the same player. He doesn't look 100%, and he's making a lot of errors, a lot of poor decisions in attack. End of sets have been a bit of a mess. The structure's breaking down, and this looks like a very, very divided dressing room. Where you've got Mitchell and Walker on one side and everyone else starting to fracture up as well into little subgroups within the dressing room. This doesn't look like a very united team going forward. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I will have some more content for you guys very, very soon.